Yo, what up you guys, MxgicIQ here. Today I'm bringing you my track guide for the weekly time leaderboard race for the GTR. You will be able to get this GTR if you are in the top 50. Unfortunately, the top 50 is super close in the split. I believe it's about a second and a half between first and the 50th spot. So if you guys are going to want to get the GTR this week, you guys are going to have to put in a lot of work. You can also earn this GTR throughout the game by leveling up and then paying $290,000 for it. But who loves free stuff? We all do. So I'll teach you guys how to do the best run possible you can do right now. Let's get straight into it. Now, before we even get into the actual racing, there's a few things you guys are going to want to change. First things first, you're going to want to put your clutch mode to manual. You don't actually have to use the clutch input, but what it's going to do is make your shifts way faster without even having to do anything differently. And it's also going to go ahead and make your launches way faster as well. You guys are also definitely going to want to use the manual gearbox type. Otherwise, you will just be way slower with automatic 100%. You won't be able to engine brake or anything. Also, for your video settings, you guys are going to want to go ahead and put everything on low and turn anti-aliasing off and turn off all smoke. This will give you the most frames possible. As you guys will see, it will affect your gameplay a lot and make hitting the shortcut very, very consistent in comparison to trying to run everything on ultra. You're just going to have a choppier game and not be able to hit that shortcut as consistently. You also are going to want to go ahead and reset your game every now and then after 10 or 20 tries to make sure you're getting the most frames possible. I believe it helps. It helped me. Hopefully it'll help you too. Let's get straight into the breakdown of the actual race. Alrighty guys, so you got your settings all figured out, your graphics are lowered, your manual clutch is on, and now it's time to get into the race. So first things first, as soon as the light goes green, you're going to go ahead and hit the nitrous button. You're going to shift into second, into third, and on the third to fourth shift, you're going to want to early shift it at 7,000 RPMs. This entire time, you're holding the nitrous up until that third to fourth shift. What we're also going to want to do is take this left route, as you guys see the tire marks right there, and move over to this yellow marker kind of right here, as close as we can to right here without hitting the curb, and set ourselves up nicely for the first shortcut of the track. So as you guys will see here, straight on the nitrous, 9K RPM shift, shifted a little bit early there at 8,500, and then we're going to turn right, boom. So right here, that little bump right there, sometimes you can actually get down a little bit quicker. It's kind of just luck of the draw. That'll actually kind of dictate your run by a tenth or two as well. I like to get as close to this tree as possible and then extend out in kind of a rainbow fashion towards this tree, but not too close, because if you get too close, you'll take this route too wide and you will unfortunately get reset. But you can go past this checkpoint further in than it actually says you can, because as you guys know, in this game, you can kind of go on the outside of checkpoints a little bit further than it suggests is possible. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this looks like now. So boom, we're on the right side of that checkpoint, and I personally try to stay on the road here. As you guys can see, I'm threading the needle. It doesn't really matter if you go off road though. These cars don't seem to lose that much speed on the dirt. As a matter of fact, you're going to want to use the dirt as a gutter in some of these corners, as you guys will see here in just a second. And hitting the sign's not going to slow you down either, although bigger poles, trees, those are the enemy. Stay away from them, trust me. But let's go ahead and get into this next corner here, and I'm going to pause it right where you guys need to pop the brake in order to weight transfer the car and kick the rear end out while applying a little bit of steering angle, and then you're going to hold full right on the stick and apply throttle right at that little sign right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what this looks like up until the point where I show you guys where to pop the brake. So we're going downhill, downhill, boom, pop the brake right there. There's a little bit of a log on the side of the road. If you count like half a millisecond, I guess, in your head, or kind of use that as a point to gauge your human reaction time, it should be enough time for you to pop at that little log on the side of the road and go ahead and turn right. And what that's going to do is, as you see here, we've kind of initiated kind of a drift here, or a power slide if you will. And what that's going to do is set us perfectly on this route to try and get as close to the sign as possible. We're off throttle, and then we're full throttle from this point on. If you guys are noticing you're starting to straighten out, you guys can give it a little bit of a tap of the brake. As you guys saw, I did there. I did tap the brake one more time. Boom, right there. I gave it a couple taps just to increase the angle of this little drift or power slide in order to get my tire deeper in the dirt here. Now, honestly, ideally, you want to be a little bit deeper and a little bit straighter so you can actually have more speed and less angle to carry more speed throughout the corner. But unfortunately, this section on my record-setting run at that moment wasn't actually best in slots. So unfortunately, I have a lot to improve on in my first section, but the route is still technically the best. There's just little things that you can improve, obviously, when going for record times. So here, as you see, we get way too much angle on the exit. You're going to want to be a lot straighter, ideally, in your run. And then right after that, you're going to want to hit the checkpoint on the outside or carry through the checkpoint and get as close to that tree as possible. That is ideal. We're going to take a look at that one more time. So right after this checkpoint right here, you're going to want to get as close to this tree as possible. Boom. And then you're going to want to drive as straight as possible past the 60-mile-per-hour sign. And then that's going to set you up perfectly for this next corner. Now, ideally, you don't want to be turning going into the dirt, because what that can do is cause your car to kind of freak out if you're not comfortable with it. But I am super comfortable with this car at this point. I've driven it a bunch of hours. It's probably half of my playtime in the game so far, honestly, and I don't mind driving this thing in the dirt. I feel pretty confident, but what you're going to want to do is go on the outside of this checkpoint, as you will see right here. Boom. And as soon as you get back on the tarmac, you're going to want to get on the brakes. Okay, do not touch the brakes in the dirt. If you touch the brakes in the dirt, your car will freak out, start to lose control, and it will be harder to slow down. You will get understeer as well if you try to apply any kind of turning while braking under load after being in the dirt and clicking your brakes in the dirt. I don't know why. So if you try to turn after braking in the dirt, it will understeer the vehicle. So now that we're on tarmac and we hit the brakes, what we're going to want to do here is kind of begin to float the brakes. We're applying hard pressure off the rip, and we're going to slowly release our pressure on the brakes, heading into the shortcut where you're going to want to clip the outside of this curb. You can possibly, and I mean possibly, do it without actually making full contact and hopping up on the curb. It is very rare, but you can kind of get it to the point where your wheels are clipping the curb, obviously by pixels. It's a very rare occurrence, and it'll happen time to time when you're going for the shortcut. So just let it happen naturally. Trust me, the likelihood of you getting that consistently is extremely low, on top of the fact of doing it without getting reset. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like here to run through the shortcut in full speed without getting reset. So boom, as you guys saw right there, we floated through the shortcut. And also, one thing I want to note for you guys as well, as soon as you hit the curb, you will see my brake lights turn off. Boom, we're off the brake as soon as we hit the curb, because if you're on the brake while you hit the curb, what it will do is, again, cause your car to go ahead and oversteer, because half of your car is off the floor, half of your car is on the floor. It's going to freak out and cause oversteer to happen there. That's not what you want. I've found also, if you bounce off the curb and kind of make hard contact with it a little too late, it's going to reset you. So you want to get on the curb as early as possible and exit right on that little step off right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at it in slow motion so you guys can see exactly what's happening here. So we're going to go ahead and approach the curb. Boom. We're not even making full contact with it yet. We're just clipping the curb here. Again, one of those 0.1% chances that happens, right? We make a little bit of contact with our rear wheel, and our rear wheel does not lose contact with the curb until the step off right about here. Boom. And then it's off the curb, and we get our lucky 0.1% chance, and we were able to go ahead and turn in tighter because of that. I did notice the car starting to straighten out and understeer right there, and as you guys saw, I applied a little bit of brake pressure. The car turned even tighter towards the inside, causing a little bit of oversteer, and we were able to take advantage of that. We're going to go ahead and fly past the Mazda and the van here without making any contact with either, which is extremely ideal. You can, in a very rare occurrence, bounce off either the tree or the Mazda and actually gain speed, but it is a very rare occurrence, and I highly recommend not going for it. Alrighty, now we've made it past the hardest shortcut, the hardest part of the track. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and aim for the bridge section. So my personal opinion here, you're going to go ahead and click into fourth. I used to stay in third for this section, but I highly recommend you guys go in fourth here. We're going to take one look at it at full speed, and then I'm going to break it down and slow it down for you guys as well. I will have a link down below in the description to the entire run, uncut with audio, if you guys want to go ahead and take a look at that. It is unlisted. If you guys want to go ahead and pause and just try and replicate the route via just watching the route over and over and over again, if that's how you prefer to go ahead and study, then you guys can do that as well. But as you guys can see here, full speed into the section. We're going to go ahead and grab third here to give us a little bit more steering angle. We're going to go ahead and basically drift at full throttle, and then go ahead and aim ourselves for this gutter right here. That's going to give us a little bit more steering angle as well. Pop the car out and get us around that corner the whole time at full throttle. The only time we let off is right in the middle of the corner to go ahead and gain more steering angle to aim ourselves at that gutter. Now we're going to go ahead and look at that in slow motion one more time here. We're gonna go ahead and enter the section here, getting as close to this curb as possible without clipping it. This corner is about to come up right here, right in between the first and second sign. You're gonna go ahead and downshift into third at the same time, simultaneously pumping the brakes. What that's gonna do is give your car oversteer and set you up to drift along this curb. We are full throttle after that second sign the entire time. Full throttle, full throttle, full throttle until right here where we let off a little bit, left foot brake a little bit, and now we fully let off the gas to pop the brake to give our car more angle to turn us in towards the gutter right here. And when you see right here, we'll get back on throttle a little bit, feather it, get right in the gutter. It's gonna pop us out. We're full throttle right after the gutter the entire time, okay? And now you are on the uphill section to the last turn, which I absolutely despise of. Let's go ahead and take a look at the last turn in full speed. Alrighty guys, now in theory the last turn looks pretty simple, but I promise you it's not. The incline with the kind of curved bank with the flat finish is super annoying, and if you make any mistakes it will completely kick you out towards those bushes on the right there. So now that we've taken a look at it in slow motion, let's go ahead and break it down. So entering this corner, you're going to want to stay as far right as possible. Then my marker is right at the smoke. I pop the brakes again, back down into third to go ahead and give our car a little bit more angle, and we're actually going to ride third out throughout this corner, get on it right as we start to hit the dirt. We're full throttle throughout this section right here, and then we're going to go ahead and get on the nitrous on the exit as soon as our car starts to straighten out, and we're going to go ahead and shift at 9k RPMs. This is where you're going to want to really push the car with the nitrous throughout the RPMs, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at this at full speed. So boom, right at 9k RPMs, shift the car, and then right here you're going to want to take a look at your nitrous bar and pay attention, because if you guys forget to shift because you think you have more RPMs to go and your nitrous runs out, I promise you your car is going to immediately boom, jolt forward and slow down, because you are going to go ahead and have your original red line and not the additional RPMs that you get from nitrous. So make sure you guys pay attention to the nitrous meter and shift right as you run out. If you can, even use a little bit for fifth gear, it might help you out a little bit. And you're going to want to take a look at the nitrous bar again. As soon as it fills up to the point where you can use it, go ahead and use that last little pump to get you across the finish line for your hopefully top 50 time. If not, you guys will probably be top 100 if you followed this guide step by step and at least got one clean run. I appreciate you guys for going ahead and staying tuned throughout the entire video. If you did enjoy this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I promise I'll continue to get faster with these guides. This first one took a lot of explaining, but hopefully over time I'll learn a quicker way to explain things to you guys. But honestly, perfection is not quick. Perfection takes time, and I still haven't reached it myself. Hopefully you can catch us in the next stream as we chase perfection. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's been MxgicIQ, and I'm out. Peace.